Give that a second to load up there. And this will be our starting point. Let's align our layers here first. Make sure there wasn't any movement between our frames. Okay. So let's darken this one first. I'll use my quick action. Trying to figure out why the stream keeps crashing on me. Let's see. Close this for a second here so I can see all my apps on the other screen. Should be fine now. Okay, let's go back into it. So I'm gonna darken this one because it's way too bright. I'm gonna brighten this one because it's too dark. And we will see if we use our last frame for anything. Let's select our darks here. And let's blend these together.
Stream Elements said, WhatIF_Productions is now live. Streaming Just Chatting. Editing some event photography with Ben.
And I think what we'll do here is we're going to select our sky on this one. Let's select our sky based on this layer here. And we're just going to layer that in. That look like. And actually, we might need some of this for the bright areas as well. So I'm going to have it look at our bright information. Brights. Okay, let's do that. And we're just going to slightly alter our mask a little bit here. That way I get some of these grass areas that are really blown out. Okay. And that looks better. Now let's see if debating on whether we should use our last frame because we might be able to just do it. Let's see if we can pull back a lot of our tones here. So I'm going to start by adding some contrast to the image since we did blend several different images together and you lose a little bit of contrast when that happens. I'm maybe going to bring up the exposure just a little bit.
Welcome to my channel.
And then we're going to bring up our shadows maybe a little bit more. Push the blacks a little bit. Okay, let's pull down on our highlights here. The sky is not quite as blue as I would like it to be, so let's go into our luminance channel of our blues and let's pull that down. let's come over to our saturation here. Let's bring our blue saturation up so it looks like we have a bluer sky. I probably went too crazy on that. Do a little bit of aquas as well. Okay. Let's do some straightening on this image. And let's do some sharpening. Now let's come into our light menu here. I'm gonna push my whites just a little bit, not a ton. Just give it that kind of glow from it. And then we've pulled down on our highlights enough, I think, on
Stream
that.
Elements said, "Thank you for following Blizziger smiley face."
Hey, thanks for following the stream.
Blizziger said, "Hope you're good."
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, just doing some architectural photo editing here from most.
Blizziger, thanks for following.
And my speech to chat is probably going to read that a bunch of times. And I might even do a sky replacement on that, we'll see. But we'll come back to like removing my hand and everything like that. I just want to get everything blended nicely. And I think I want to push the greens just a little bit because I don't think they're green enough. So we're going to come over to our color mixer here. And let's push our greens. And I think what I'll do as well is I'm going to pull down on the luminance channel all of our yellows so we can bring back a little bit more detail. And we're going to call it good on that. Okay, then I'm going to put a hue saturation layer here. And I'm going to have it pick a color. What I want to remove is kind of this blue tone so it looks like everything was shot like evenly and everything like that. So let's do this. We're just gonna paint in the areas that are blue that I don't want them being blue anymore. I'm gonna hide my marching ants for a second here, and we're just gonna clean all of this up. Okay, that looks good. Let's save that out. We'll do our removal stuff at the end. That way I don't have a memory leak on my machine because of the way that Photoshop is built.
Blizziger said, "Got some stuff to do, but I'll throw you a lurk. Have fun editing."
Appreciate it. Okay, and while that's saving out, let's go in and we're going to label our files. Call this done. I'm going to skip that one. So that side angle does it. We're going to skip that. Oops, that's the one that we did. Yeah, we're going to skip these. Yeah, because I don't think I need to deliver that angle actually to the client. Okay. Debating on doing this one because again I took another one. I like this one better. It's more intimate. I could probably do this with maybe 3 files. Let's go Tools, Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers. So let's bring this one down. And And let's have it align our layers here, make sure we didn't have any movement really between our frames, because I think I took this shot handheld. And it looks like there was some movement between our frames. I'm just gonna look at it real quick, make sure it's not too crazy. Yeah, that looks pretty lined up. Okay, so I'm gonna darken this one first. We're gonna brighten this one. And let's come into our luminance mask and let's have it select our darks, which there isn't a lot of. There's really not a lot of in this picture. We'll probably do it pretty strict on how much it's brightening, maybe like 5 on our luminance mask. Okay. Now we're just going to put a layer mask on that, and we're going to layer it in. Okay, and I'm debating on whether I don't think we really need to use this sky, so let's just merge our layers together. Okay, let's give it a little bit more contrast. Start. Then I want to push my exposure until the image starts to glow a little bit. That looks pretty good there. Let's push the shadows maybe a little bit. Push the blacks. And maybe push our whites just a little bit. Okay, let's pull down on our highlights a little bit. Maybe give it a little bit more exposure. Okay, let's go into our sharpening here. And I'm just going to have it sharpen the edges that are white. That way the image looks sharper. And we're not sharpening any of our noise. Let's go into our color mixer. I'm going to bring up the saturation of the yellow oranges just a little bit. Maybe the yellows a little bit more. Got some greens. Let's push our greens a little bit in this picture. Make them pop. Looks like we got some red tones. Give them a slight push. Okay, and then let's go. Doubt it's going to straighten this, but probably what we're going to do on this is we're just going to bring up our scale on the image a little bit. That way we get rid of those areas where we have no pixels. And let's come to our color mixer here, and I think I want to brighten the blue sky a little bit. Let's push this up. A little bit, not a ton. Okay, let's bring up our saturation on our blues. The way it still kind of keeps that blue color, and I think I'm gonna dehaze this image maybe a little bit, just because it looks a little bit hazy back here. Usually I do about 14 on the dehaze, and that usually gets it pretty straight. I'm happy with that. And let's save this one out. I'm going to grab my color balance from before for this image. So we're going to use it on this one to make things look more clean. Okay, so probably going to use 4 frames on this. And we're going to go develop previous conversion.
Impeccable images. Welcome to my channel.
Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. And I'm going to load these images up in Photoshop layers. We're doing some architectural photography editing. This is a real estate listing that I shot yesterday. Give that a second to load up here. Okay. So we're going to pick kind of like a mid exposure between everything. That way we can kind of blend things together pretty easily. And we're going to align our layers in case there was any movement while it was on the tripod. Okay. So first off, I'm going to apply one of my Photoshop actions where it adjusts the contrast and the brightness of an image. Then I'm going to brighten this dark image here. And I'm going to apply the same thing to this one as well, just so we get a better blend. And on this one, I'm going to pull down the highlights a little bit, just because we brightened it. Usually do about 23, 24 on that. That way it doesn't look like you sucked all the brightness out of that layer. Okay, so let's go. We're going to select our darks here. And let's layer mask this in. And I'm just going to paint a little bit of this out because we got a little bit of fire bleed. Here now. Probably drop the percent of that a little bit. It seems a little too much. It's looking better.
Impeccable images. Said, how are you today? Colon closing parenthesis.
I'm doing well. Actually, I'm kind of excited for tomorrow. Tomorrow I get to do a hotel shoot, and it'll be my first hotel shoot that I get to photograph. So I'm doing 2 hotels and an Airbnb. I've done Airbnbs before, but I haven't done a hotel. Let's select our brights here.
Impeccable images. Said, nice.
Yeah, and it should be pretty easy. Like they're nothing like super special. Like one of them's a motel and the other one's a hotel. You got to start somewhere, right? Ooh.
Impeccable images. Said, I have to lurk, playing video games with the husband, but I'm excited for you, laughing face.
Cool. Well, thanks for lurking. Let's see here. Do we want to do a straight? I don't know if this did it very good. Let me think about this. Because I could go into this mask and alter it a little bit. Make it so we're painting it in more. Let's try redoing this mask again. See if I get more detail back that way. Yeah. Okay. Probably gonna do the same thing on this. So I'll probably do sky pull on this. And this is going to be a rough mask for a second here, because I bet you it's not going to blend as nicely as I want it to. So let's turn that off, turn that back on. Okay, so we need to pull down a little bit on our highlights on this image. So we're not getting a super great blend from this. Okay. And for some reason it just feels like it grabbed too much at the sky, so I think I'm going to redo this. Let's go brights. And we're going to get real strict with this mask. Okay, that looks pretty good. I bet you we probably need to bring this up. Stop and then bring our exposure down a little bit. There we go. That's looking closer. And based on this mask, I'm just going to come in and paint some of this in a little bit stronger than I have it. It looks a little muddy at the moment, so we're going to take our opacity back a little bit until the image starts to look a little bit better. Okay. Let's merge our layers. And I think we're definitely going to go in and try and control our sky a little bit more. So first, let's give this some contrast. Let's brighten it a little bit. Let's push our shadows a little bit for the inside. A little bit on our blacks. And actually, I might go back and redo that because it looks like it's messing with some of my fire there. Okay, I'm just going to keep, I might drop this opacity more actually. Let's merge these again. Let's do some straightening. Okay, now let's do some contrast to this image. Let's push our exposure a little bit, not much. Push these shadows a little bit. Push the blacks a little bit. Push our whites a bit. Pull down on our highlights here. Okay. Let's do some sharpening. Go into our color mixer panel here. Let's go to luminance, and I'm going to try and pull back as much of that blue as I possibly can. Maybe increase the saturation of the blue a little bit. Let's do a little dehaze. Getting there. Let's bring up our exposure a little bit more. And that's actually looking really good. Let's go back to our yellows here. I'm going to pull down on the yellows just a little bit, bring back some of that detail. More so in the yellows than the oranges. Okay, let's make our greens pop a little bit. Okay. Let's see, did we sharpen it yet? We did, okay, so we're gonna close this out. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a hue saturate here. And we're gonna correct some of our color staining on the inside because all of these walls are actually white. So let's go in and select our yellow. We want to be careful because we want to keep some of that bright sunlight on the outside of it, but reduce the color on the inside. Maybe a little bit more. Let's go after the yellows, like this one in this corner here. It's more of a brown yellow. Oops. Painting on the wrong layer. Okay, I think I'll just come in and maybe paint a little bit of this color. Well, actually, let's see what it looks like when we drop our opacity. That looks cleaner. I think there's still this orange in here that I don't like though, or kind of like a pink. Let's paint some of that out. Okay, and that is looking really clean on that image. So I'm debating on doing sky replacement on this one, but I kind of like the sky at the same time too. Let's check our histogram here, make sure we don't have too much of a peak or anything like that. And actually the other color that I want to pull some of this blue out of this stuff. Really didn't select what I thought I was going to. Let's try it again. There we go. It's going to get us closer.
Liziger said, "These are gorgeous, by the way."
Thanks, I appreciate it. And we're just going to clean this up. And I might do a slight brightness adjustment on the stuff that we took the color from. Yeah, that looks great. I really like how that came out. I think I'll just leave the golden yellow. That way it's kind of like a sunset kind of thing. We'll come back to cleaning this stuff up later just because I don't want to... Basically when I'm streaming, Photoshop causes a memory leak every time I go in to either use the object selection tool or the generative fill, so we'll do that last so it doesn't like kill the stream here. Okay, let's see. And I think I'm only gonna need, let me see, maybe these three. Okay, let's load these up into Photoshop layers. And there are times where I won't color balance the outside because sometimes it looks better at like 5200, or I could just pull whatever color out using a desaturate, or creating another layer to yellow this area here that's blue. That way the shadows don't look so blue if I wanted to. Okay, let's align our layers in case we had any movement here. It doesn't look like it, but you never know. Okay, let's double check these, make sure there's no crazy shifts. Okay, I think we're good there. So let's start by darkening this one. We're going to brighten this layer. And let's start building our dynamic range. So I'm going to select the darks here. We're going to go real extreme in it because it looks like I'm bleeding a little bit up into the sky. Let's blend this in. And if I wanted to, we could even color balance this so it was more yellow. That way our shadows don't look so blue. We could try that. That looks good. Do we need this sky? We need it for the brights, just a little bit. So I'm going to go in, select our brights here. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to go in, pull down the highlights just a little bit. Down just to like 23, 24. Usually don't go too crazy with it because otherwise it starts to look kind of like weird HDR. Okay, let's merge these layers and let's add some contrast here. Okay. I don't think I really need to, maybe just push the shadows a little bit. I don't really think I need to touch the blacks at all. Push our highlights, or I mean our whites a little bit until we get a little bit of a peak. Okay, let's pull down on our highlights a little bit. Maybe push the exposure just a little bit. Pull down on our highlights more. Okay, and that looks really good to me. Let's do some straightening because this is architecture. And we're going to bring up the scale because I can see some edging from the frame movement that we had when we took this picture. Let's try vertical. That looks better, I think. Might have to, I know this is crooked. That was definitely built crooked, but this should be straight. Yeah. Okay, let's do some sharpening. And I think that is a good looking photo there. Let me see if I want to do anything else to this. Maybe a little bit of color mixer. Pull down the luminance of the blues. Oops, we're not straightening. down the luminance of the yellows a little bit. They're a little too radioactive in my opinion. Okay, let's increase the saturation of our greens. Increase the saturation of our blues a little bit. And I think that's looking really good. Let me make sure I added contrast to this image at the beginning. We did. Let's hit OK on that. We're going to save this one out as a PSB here. Okay. I might even be able to do this one just with one picture, possibly. Try it with just one. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it 20 contrast, because I just like a little bit contrastier of an image. We're going to push our exposure until the image starts to glow a little bit. Okay, let's push our blacks a little bit. Push the shadows just a little bit. Push the blacks maybe a little bit more. Okay, let's do our color mixer. We're definitely going to pull back the luminance on our blues, and I'm probably going to dehaze because we have some haze in this picture. Okay, let's increase the saturation of the blues. And let's give it a little bit more of an exposure boost. And let's pull down the highlights a little bit here. And let's push up our whites just a hinge. Okay, let's go into our sharpening here. And we're just going to sharpen the white edges. Okay, let's go to our effects here. Let's give it some dehaze. I usually give it about 14. And that really helped actually that image out a lot. So we could probably push our whites more now. Do some straightening, even though I may not have some that's perfectly straight. It's closer. But let's do the horizon. Let's straighten it by the horizon. Maybe give it a little bit more brightness. Okay, let's come into our color mixer here. Let's go after our yellows a little bit. Bring back some of that detail in there. Maybe push the exposure a little bit more. And let's see if I want to do anything else to this image. Maybe a little bit of orange. And that looks good. So let's open that in Photoshop. And I'm going to save this out as a PSB, even though we don't have any layers. Just because usually on my media, what I like to do is, the theory is like your starting image is like a circle, and as you go down, you jam it through a square. And the more you try to jam through it, the more detail you tend to retain in your images instead of the image degrading. Let's label these. We did both of these. probably could do this with only 2 images. Looks like it. And on this photo, I broke the architectural photography rule that you're supposed to shoot everything 90 degrees because this house was so tipped up that it would just be weird in the frame. So we'll have to go in and straighten it, and we'll lose a little bit of our frame on our image, probably on this one a little bit. Let's darken that. Oops. And let's align our layers here. And let's select our dark areas. And we're going to be real strict with this one just because we're getting a little bit of our sky bleeding into there. Okay, that looks like a pretty nice blend. Let's merge our layers. And let's go into Camera Raw. Let's give it some more contrast. I'm going to dehaze earlier on in this image because I already know that it has a lot of haze. Like 14. Okay, let's push our exposure until our image starts to glow a little bit. Okay, let's push our shadows. Let's push our blacks. Let's pull down on our highlights a little bit here. I'm going to push the whites a little bit more, and we're going to pull down more on our highlights. That's how we get a nice even looking image. Okay, let's go to geometry, let's straighten. That did not straighten at all. Let's try this. That didn't straighten either. Okay, so we're going to have to do it manually. And actually, we did increase our contrast, okay. And we will come back to this image because probably what I will do is I'll generative fill a lot of that in. Let's go to our color mixer here. Deepen the blues a little bit. Let's increase our saturation of our blues a little bit. Let's do our yellows. Get our greens a little bit. Okay. Let's do some sharpening on this image. I think maybe I want to bring back a little bit of luminance values in the yellows on the house. So let's do a little bit of that. And that's looking good. We're going to save this out. I know we have the pixels around the edge there, but what I will do is when we kick out our JPEG, I'll go and have that fill in. Okay. Close this one out because that one's been open the whole time.
Nawin Kwok Viet. Welcome to my channel. Nawin Kwok Viet. said, "Hi."
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Ooh, see what the shutter speed was on. A little bit of movement on that. Not a ton. We'd probably do it actually with 2 frames. Let's see what the difference was in this one. Okay, let's load this up into Photoshop layers here. We're doing some architectural photography editing tonight. Give that a second. Okay, let's align this because I 100% know that there was movement between our frames because I shot it handheld with higher ISO. Okay, that's a better blend. Okay, so let's bring this one down and let's darken this layer with a quick action. Okay, now let's select our darks. I think we might even get more strict than that. Okay. And let's blend these 2 together. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to merge our layers. And let's give this image some more contrast and let's dehaze it as well. That's the Denver smog. There at the bottom. Let's see, let's go give it some dehaze. Okay, let's push our exposure until our image starts to glow a little bit. Okay, that looks good here. Let's push our shadows. Let's do some blacks. Let's pull down, actually let's push our whites a little bit. Let's pull down on our highlights. Try to retain as much detail as we can. Okay. Let's do some sharpening on this image. Okay, maybe a little bit more exposure, maybe a little bit more whites. That's looking kind of nice there. A little bit more highlights. Okay, let's go into our color mixer again. Let's pull down our blues, the luminance of them a little bit. Let's deepen our blues for our saturation. Let's push our exposure a little bit more. Okay. And let's bring up our scale. That way we don't have to fill this image. We're just going to bring our scale up a little bit. Okay, let's save this image out, and while that image is saving out, I'm going to go grab a drink of water here because my voice is starting to get a little bit hoarse. Okay. Let's open our next one. This is done. Not going to do these ones. Basically, it's just a side angle where you could barely see Denver in there, and I don't even think that it's worth it looking at it now. Let's see here. Don't have to use multiple frames on this one, but we'll do it for the fun of it. So it just gives me a little bit more control in my tones. Let's align our layers here, because I guarantee there was movement. I took this one handheld. Okay, let's darken this layer with quick action. Let's brighten this layer. Let's start by selecting our darks here, and I think we're going to be very strict with our mask because we don't want to really do a ton of work to the darks, just a little bit. Yeah, right there's probably good. Let's layer mask that in. Wrong layer. Okay. And I don't think I need to use this one because we did it in two. Let's merge these. Let's do, I think we're just going to horizontally straighten this. Let's bring up our scale. Part of me thinks that I could be a landscape photographer, but I don't. The thing that I don't get about landscape photography is how you get people to buy your art. That's like the thing that I don't get about that world. It's how you get someone to be like, wow, that's a great landscape. I want to put that on my wall in my house or something like that. See, did we add contrast to this? I don't think we did. So anytime you blend something, you should add a little bit of contrast. Push the exposure. Pull down the highlights just a little bit. We already sharpened, so this one's all done. That one looks good. I maybe could dehaze a little bit if I wanted to. Bring up our exposure a little bit more. Let's pop that yellow with the color mixer. Yeah, that looks really good. I could do this in 2 frames. Yeah, we can do it in 2 frames. Okay, so let's align our layers here. This was shot handheld. Let's bring our darker one down. Let's darken our brighter one. And let's do a fairly strict mask on this. Okay, let's merge our layers. So let's do our dehaze here. Let's give it some more contrast. Okay, let's push our exposure until our image starts to glow a little bit. Push our shadows, maybe our blacks a lot more. Let's pull down on our highlights. Maybe give it a little bit more brightness. I like where this image is sitting at, so let's go into our color mixer. Let's push our yellows a little bit and make them pop a little bit more. Okay. I think this image is just fine the way that it is. Like, there's not really any other colors in it. You could maybe pull back a little bit of detail in the yellows, and that would be it. And push the exposure just a little bit more. There we go. And let's sharpen. And let's bring up our scale, since I don't really have anything to straighten this image with. And the horizon looks pretty straight. And we're going to push OK on that. And we're going to call this image good. We might use all 4 of them on this, but we probably won't. We'll see. Okay, so I'm just going to start by color balancing this. I'm going to bring my saturation up so I can really see what kind of tones I got going on in this. This floor should be gray. Now let's bring that back down to 0 and see if we need to make any adjustments. Maybe a little bit warmer, a little bit more magenta. We'll reduce these colors with our hue saturate layer. Hit done on that. Okay, let's load these up into Photoshop layers. Thank you. Okay. What are those? Oh, okay. Yeah, they really haven't had those in like a long time. So we're gonna darken. I mean, it's possible. Brighten this one. Let's pull down our highlights a little bit on this one. Go to like 24-ish in there somewhere. We might use our fourth layer here. I really doubt it, but let's pre-set this up. So let's have it select our darks here. And we're going to layer that in. Okay. Like where the brightness is sitting on that. Let's have it select our brights. And let's get a lot more strict with that. Okay. And we're just going to layer that in. Can we... It looks like we have a lot of nice detail in this picture. I think the only... Might do just a little bit of the brights on this one. There we go.
Aphotic Photon. Welcome to my channel.
Thanks for joining the stream. Doing some architectural photography tonight. It's a real estate listing that I shot yesterday. And we're just adjusting our mask at the moment right now because I think I'm just going to fully paint that in and fully paint that in. So I'm painting on my mask at the moment. Let's see if this... We might have to bring up our exposure a little bit more to get this to blend better. Let's try that there. That looks like a pretty decent blend. Okay, so I'm gonna merge our layers together here. And we're going to go in, we're going to straighten. Ooh, why did it? I don't know if that was a good thing. Okay, let's sharpen. I'm going to hold Alt to mask my sharpening. So it's just going around the edges of things. Okay, then let's come into light here. Let's give it some contrast. Let's push our whites a little bit. Okay, so we're going to push our exposure until our image starts to glow a little bit. Push the shadows a little bit more. Maybe give the blacks just a little bit of a push. Okay. I think that looks good there. Make sure we sharpened. We did. Okay, let's hit OK on this. Now I'm going to do one of my quick actions for a hue saturate layer. And we're just going to go in, we're going to pull out the colors that we don't want in certain areas. let's go after another color here. Let's go after this blue because it's a different kind of blue. Let's go after this last little bit of blue here. Let's bring up our mask again. Okay, actually I think there's still some blue that I don't want in here, over here. Okay. Now let's go after this green color here. I'm going to remove our marching ants so I can look at this image a little bit better. Maybe go after a little bit of yellow. Just quickly paint this out. Okay, let's try this yellow right here. Okay, let's select this. Let's do a brightness adjustment. Let's bring that up to 10. Let's bring this down. Bring back a little bit of that color. That way we haven't pulled all of it out. That looks pretty balanced. Let's check our graph. I'm going to merge this one more time and I'm just going to push the whites and that's going to be it. I think everything else on this image looks great. And we'll leave it right there, and I think that looks good. Okay, let's save this image out. Okay, so this is one of my Twilight photos that I was trying to go more artsy on. So let me find the one where the ceiling is more red and so we're just gonna select all of our images as purple here. Good. This one. Let's see, then I did some stuff with the lights on. Might use this one. I got like 2 images left. And I might use these 2 as well. Let's find that really colorful sky. Okay, let's grab all our purple images here, and we're going to load these up into Photoshop layers. So I'm going to try and create kind of like a twilighty, kind of like Christmas interior shot. And this one might take a little while just because we're loading up about 9 image files to do the blending on this. I'm just going to go through and kind of look at each exposure, figure out what I'm going to use, what I might use from each one. This might be something for brightness. This one here. Looks like I was trying to control more of the orange lighting. Might use this for brightness, just to brighten up the couch a little bit. Okay, this is the Okay, so let's kind of find a base layer that we want to work from, something not too dark. Okay, let's do, what layer are we looking at here? I'm going to be selective with this mask because I think I'm just going to use this for the Christmas tree there. So this probably is not our base layer. That might be our base layer. So where's the one of the Christmas tree where I don't have the orange lights? This is our base layer. Okay, I appreciate it. Kind of like this is our base layer too. So you can drag this down to the bottom, see which one I like better. Okay. So let's put a layer mask on this. And I'm just going to select, let's hide this for a second. And I'm gonna disable the layer mask for a second here, and let's select our brights from this image. Let's enable our layer mask again. Let's go select from this mask here. We're going to turn this off. Turn this one off too. So I think what I'm going to do with this is control how bright the orange light is. And actually, before I even do that, I think we should just align our layers here. this a second to align. I'm going to disable my layer mask again just so I can see this. Now let's do this by color. I think that'll make it easier. Nice. Looks like a lot better of a mask there. Paint this in. Let's turn off this layer so I can tell how this is getting painted in. Okay, I'm going to disable the layer mask one more time. I'm going to grab a little bit more of the range of this yellow here. Enable that again. And let's paint this in a little bit more. Okay, I like that. Let's layer mask this in. I'm just going to selectively start painting certain things in that I like from parts of each image. Okay, and I'm going to drop the opacity down on this a little bit. Like 79%, somewhere in there. 80. I'm just going to paint out the top part here because I introduced some funky shadow stuff. Actually, I might let that more of the image come in. Okay. See where I want to go next with this. Probably brighten this up a little bit. Maybe paint a little bit more of that in. Nah. Okay, I'm going to disable the mask for a second here. Let's go after the green. And let's paint some more of that green in. And I like where we're kind of at here, although I want the ceiling to be more of a red-green. Okay, I think we're going to add that to the walls because I like that there. So probably on that part we're just going to select our brights. Oops. Don't want to hit that. Maybe just this area over here. Go 100 because that was only 25% of that. And actually, I think we're gonna get to straight polar sky in. That would be great. Okay, let's select this color in here. Okay, so we get that sky a little bit better. Continue painting that in. I like what that did to the image. Like that a lot, actually. I'm just going to start bringing some of these layers down that I like the stuff that it's doing to the image.
Suki Florence. Welcome to my channel.
Welcome to the stream. We're doing some architectural photography editing again here tonight. Like what that's doing. Let's see what it does to the floor. Drop that one down. I like what that did. Just need to try and get the ceiling a little bit more red-green. Actually, that might work. So let's have it look at our shadows, or our darks. Turn off the marching ants so I can see what this is doing to this. Can't tell if I like it or not. Okay, let's see. Right corner in the bedroom. Maybe the bedroom on this one only. We'll have it look at this based on brightness. That didn't help. Okay, and let's hide this layer. Like what that did. That did some nice stuff too. Almost don't even notice it because it's so subtle. Actually, it's because it was at 50%. Nope. Okay, let's... Okay, let's see if we can find for something that would have our ceiling more in it. Bring the ones that I've used up and the rest of them down. Turn that layer off. Let's move this one up. Turn that off. I want to use a little bit of this, so I'm just going to bring that down. Let's see, this is probably not layered correctly because it's not looking like it was before. So what layer do I have on here? This one? green isn't too terrible in this. Wouldn't be bad to blend that. Layer mask that. Let's see what else was in this image that we could pull out of it. Maybe the red? Or is there a deeper red somewhere else? And maybe just that red on this one. I really like the mood that's going on in this now. We've got our red in there the way that we wanted it. I think maybe blend a little bit of that into the chairs there, the ones on the outside. Damn, that's a good looking image. Maybe like 50% here. Let's figure out where
VL
our
Mercy.
sky is.
Welcome to my channel.
And thanks for joining the stream. We're just doing some architectural photography editing here. Just use 50% of that in here just to lift the center of the room a little bit. That's looking so cool. Drag this layer down. I think I got everything pretty much where I want it. If there's anything else. Last little details I could add in. Maybe just the bright on this one, just that rock. Okay, I think we can merge these together. So I like the blend on everything. Maybe might do a hue saturate, we'll see. So mainly I just want to like reduce the orangeness maybe a little bit. That did not work. That's why it didn't work. Yeah, it's just not getting enough of that color. About if we select here, because I know this is white. Let's drop our percentage on this. So I'm going to put in about 15% or 50% of that in. Probably gonna need very little of this. Like 20%. That looks good. And let's select this color here. And I'm just gonna drop a brightness layer in here so we can make this image pop a little bit more. Let's make this a black mask. We're going to bring our brightness up to 10. So it lifts our room a little bit. Bring that up to 100. I like that. That was a good boost on that there. Okay, let's merge all these together and then let's take it into Camera Raw here. More contrast. Push our exposure until our image starts to glow a little bit. Push the whites. See what's blowing out here. Push the shadows just a little bit. Push the blacks a little bit. Boost our reds. Boost the greens. Let's take a brush to this. straighten it. Get the scale just a little bit. We can darken our reds maybe a little. Darken the greens maybe a little bit. Push the exposure more. Give it more whites, I guess. We're gonna hit this rock right here. Hit the fire just slightly. Maybe try and give it a curve. Push the exposure just a little bit more. Go back to our brush. Okay, we push the whites more. That's good there. For effect, we could dehaze a little bit. Back to our brush. Okay, let's sharpen.
Another TTV viewer. Welcome to my channel.
Thanks for joining the stream. We're doing some architectural photography editing here, and we're almost done with this image. I think what I want to do is I want to add more red into some of this. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to try and boost some of those colors that I just don't think are Christmassy enough. So we're going to make a couple layers here. Whoops, didn't want that. Move this out of the way. So let's go in, and I want layer, okay, and let's layer mask this stuff. So I want this red more up here. Color. That didn't really work out. About overlay. Let's try that. What I'll do is I'm going to drop the flow. Do a little bit of red up the middle here. Let's grab this green right here. And then I think what I'll do is I'm just going to drop the opacity down until it adds a little bit more color into this. Let's grab this red again. I think I'm going to play around with the blending mode on this, just see what we can get here. I think what I might do on this as well is, let's see, where is our, whatchamacallit tool? I haven't used this in so long. Our gradient tool, that's what I'm looking for. There it is. It's the shortcut for that. G. So I'm going to zoom out here so I can see the image better. So I want to give this a gradient.
Spy, welcome to my channel.
Hey, thanks for joining the stream here. No, no, no. Darn it. Hate when it won't make the mask black. This black. That did not paint where I wanted it to. Okay, so I'm gonna paint all this out and then we're gonna paint it back in using our gradient tool. Like what that's doing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this one in a folder, then do a mask on that folder. Delete the vector mask. Oops. Let's put a mask on this folder. Now let's try with our gradient. If I can get something that has a little bit more of an effect. That is not working at all. If we make our color white, go from white to black. No. Verse. Noise. Yeah, it's just not doing what I want it to do. Let's just delete that. Just a mask. Push all that back in again. Let's try making a folder. Oh, that was only, was that, did we paint all that in? I'm not weird. And let's see here. Try this one more time. Put a mask on that group. Let's try the gradient tool again. Classic gradient. Yeah, I don't know why my gradient tool doesn't want to work. So I'm just going to delete this. And I guess we're just going to stick with what we got. And the last little bit I want to do here is maybe color the rocks. Change this to color. Maybe more blue. That's probably what I want. I want it more blue. it is that I want this to be. Maybe in the dark tones, more blue. I'm just gonna leave it. And we got one more image here, and then we're all done doing all of our editing. I think we'll use these 4 layers here. Okay. So I want to start from something darker this time, I think. We can use one of these for our windows. Hide that one for the windows. Okay, let's align all these layers here. We're definitely doing a sky replacement because this had a really cool blue-red sky, but it's it's just not in the shot. It's to the left of the house. So I'm gonna brighten this one up. Okay, let's start by going after some of our brights here, mainly just these and the front door. So let's choose brights 3. And we're just going to layer all of that in. We not align. Let's try that again. That looks like we have movement. Boom, boom. Okay, that's better. Let's try this mask again. Okay. Probably too bright. Try darkening this one, see what that does to it. I'm just going to clean up our masks here a little bit. Darken this one. I'm gonna have it select our darks. And let's layer mask that in. Let's make our oranges, I think, a little bit more orange. Push our greens. Push the blues. I might even want to make this, the temperature of this a little bit cooler. Right there's pretty good. Warm it up a little bit more. Let's have it straighten this. Of course it didn't do it. Let's do sky replacement. And I want one of our more dramatic skies. I think it's going to be in here somewhere. So I'm getting close to the one that I want.
Shutter Fragment. Welcome to my channel.
Thanks for joining the stream here. We're just doing some sky replacement on a Twilight image that I'm editing. I'm trying to find a decent sky here. I think that might be the one. Let's adjust this. Brighten the sky a little bit. Make it pop a little bit more. Maybe give it some more contrast here. Let's brighten up our shadows a little bit. Try straightening it again. Do auto. Let's see if that gets it. It's closer. Sharpen. Effects. I'm trying to remember where this is at. Calibration. Shadows a little bit. Let's push our blacks. Maybe a dehaze a little bit. Darken the image. Push the whites quite a lot. Let's get a brush. Let's pull down those highlights that are a little too hot. And for some reason, I don't see any change. I think I'm going to go in, I'm going to lighten the orange in the luminance channel. Play with our curves maybe a little bit. Bring that up. Let's find some midtones somewhere. Bring the midtones down. Midtones up. Blacks down. Try straighten this one more time because I just don't think it's straight. No. Just gonna add a layer for some color. Grab this red. Grab that green too. Drop the opacity a little bit on this. Make it not so extreme. Play with our blending modes, maybe do like overlay or something like that. I like that. Let's go over to our brushes. I'm debating on giving this image a moon. Rain, cloud, sky. Where do I have my moon brushes? Is it in here? Fog, clouds, trees, moons. Maybe just a crescent moon. Let's see what small moon. Load the small moon up. What does it look like? Put a little crescent. Okay, I'm gonna merge all these layers together. Do another hue saturate, just for that one window that's like standing out really weird. Let's go back to brushes. Let's do our general brushes. Let's pick that color. That way I'm not hitting everything else as well. Just this weird pinkish orange. And I'm going to drop the opacity on this just a little bit to bring back a bit of color. Maybe go in. I think it's probably making it too white, so maybe make it darker. Nope, white was right. I'm gonna merge these again. Let's get our generative fill going. And we're just going to wait on the generative fill here so I don't have to super crop this image. I might still zoom into it a little bit. Yeah, let's zoom in a little bit more. And that looks good.
VL Messi, welcome to my channel.
Try and straighten it one more time because this building is really funky. And we're just doing some architectural photo editing here. I'm doing a twilight photo. That looks better. Go into color mixer. Pop in some of these. Nope. Pop some of these colors. Deeper blue. Pop the green. Red. Pull down the luminance a little bit in some of these colors. Green. Let's see. We pull down our highlights a little bit. Bring up our exposure just a tad. I think that's good. I think This image looks really good. I could add more vibrance. About saturation, what happens if we add more saturation? What does it look like? That's too much. About if we blew the tone a little bit. So I like that. I like that a lot. Close this one as well. Then we'll kick our images out and we'll do our final retouching. Give that a minute. Okay, let's kick everything out here. Make sure we can clean up. We did everything. Let's go Tools, Photoshop, Image Processor. We'll hit Run on this. Okay, let's go in and do our final touch-ups on any of these that you need to do. Let's remove my hand out of this one. that a second to think about it. Actually, I missed, so cancel on that before that finishes. Missed part of the tree. Nice. Let's flatten that. Okay. Do some generative fill on this. And then we'll zoom our image in a little bit. Cancel, because there's one more thing we should grab. Okay. Let's reselect. Get my shadow out of there. Yeah, and I think we're going to way zoom in because it just gave us a little bit extra image and not a lot of good stuff on the side. Try and straighten this one more time because I swear this house is crooked. Bring up our scale a little bit. Move our image more into the center. Generative fill one more time, and then we'll call it good on this one. Flatten, zoom in just a little bit more, and I'm gonna call it good.
Spy, welcome to my channel.
Welcome to the stream. We're just barely finishing up some architectural photo editing here. I'm just doing cleanups on images. have the generative fill, remove the trash can. Play with this. Yeah, that looks fun. And this image looks good. That one looks good. Alright, so I think we're all done editing for tonight. So if you joined the stream earlier in the stream, thanks for joining, and we'll see you again next time.
Love came in and thawed my heart. After a winter so cold, it left me frozen inside. You sang a song that unraveled me. The melody